Hey everyone, and welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online, that is. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BxRx TV and like us on Facebook at Open BxRx Television. And of course, while you're there, follow me on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So Hispanic Heritage Month is quickly approaching, and a new show celebrating Afro-Latino culture is making its way to your television screen. The show is called Afro-Latino Travels with Kim Haas, and it shines light on the historical and cultural contributions of Latin America's African descendants. And joining us to share more, we welcome host and executive producer, Kim Haas. Hello and welcome.
Hello, hola. Rina, how are you?
I am fab as fab can get based on the
Yeah.
circumstances. The question
Yes.
is, how are you having this new show that is about travel and then having to pretty much pause?
But that's okay. That's okay. I'm super excited and so glad to be here. I'm a big fan of the Bronx, and I have to tell you, it's a real pleasure. So we're excited. We're about to debut, and it's a dream come true. It's an absolute dream come true. Yes.
Well, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
And
Gracias.
so let's just bring everybody up to speed on your process, because
Sure.
you have a blog and you've basically created this show, right? Because you're the executive producer as well. And the show is about traveling to various islands that are have African descendants. And so first, let's talk a little bit about your background
Right.
and why you chose this avenue
Yes.
to highlight.
Sure, sure. Thank you. So I have to say that this whole genre of travel really opened up for me through my grandmother. And I have to thank her, mi abuela, for taking me to Acapulco when I was about 7 or 8 years old. And we traveled to Mexico. And I remember someone taught me to count from 1 to 20 in Spanish in the hotel lobby, and that was it. And at age 7 or 8, I was hooked, and hooked on travel, already hooked on languages and meeting people, and just the opportunity to learn. And since then, I can't remember when I wasn't involved in languages and culture. And it's just my great passion. And so I thank my grandmother for opening me up to so many just incredible experiences. So that's how this journey got started. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
understand. You speak three languages now.
I do, and I say sometimes English on a good day. No, but native
What
from the
are
U.S.
those languages? What are
Yeah.
those languages?
So Spanish, because I majored in Spanish in undergraduate and graduate school, and then as well as when I was in undergraduate school, I took Portuguese and Italian, and I studied in Italy. And so those Romance languages do make it easier to study once you studied one, to kind of start learning and studying the other ones. So I picked up the other ones and just worked to keep them up with friendships and experiences traveling. So I enjoy languages, and I enjoy connecting with people.
And so I understand your debut episodes are based in Costa Rica. So
Yes.
let's share a little bit about why you chose Costa Rica, and do you have any connections to Costa Rica?
Well, I will say pura vida, right? So Costa Rica is known for pura vida, taking it easy, right? So, in a way, it's like we reached out to Costa Rica. So part of the process, the shows will air on public television across the United States for Hispanic Heritage Month. And so part of the process, though, is unlike commercial television, as producers and hosts, we have to go out and find the support, the financial support, the in-kind support for the crew and the lodging and all that, the airfare. So we were fortunate enough. I met somebody with the Costa Rica Tourism Board. I pitched him. We were talking about, we talk about learning to pitch your product, your idea. I talked to him about it. He thought it was interesting. And to make a long story short, they came along and they said, yes, we want to do it. We want to support you. So that's how Costa Rica started. It's probably one of those Latin American countries where you may not automatically think African roots, Afro descendants, but it has a rich, rich history. And I'll just tell you briefly, from Jamaicans who emigrated to Costa Rica in the early 1900s and built the railroad. And that's what we discuss in the series, among other things. We have fun, we cooking segments, but I think the contributions of people of African descent and are so rich, so deep, so profound. And it's time to really start honoring them and start celebrating these communities and their contributions. So from the historical, where we talk about, hey, Jamaicans were in Costa Rica and other people of African descent and actually built the railroad. If you can think about what that means.
Right.
1900s, you know, you're out in the middle of the Costa Rican jungle. There's no hospital. If you don't get on your cell phone, if you got a boo-boo, you know, from
Right.
working on the railroad, you've got to fend for yourself and make the best of it. The first 5,000 people, and mostly again of African descent, who worked on the railroad, I mean, when they died, they stopped counting after the first 5,000. So that gives you the scope and an idea, the scope and magnitude of the amount of lives that were lost on building the basic infrastructure of Costa Rica.
Well, you know, I just want to give you a bravo applause in
Thank
reclaiming
you.
history, because that's what you're doing. You're kind of like reclaiming our history in the sense of, while I'm not Costa Rican, I identify as being Afro-Latina.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that the next generation start to learn about their cultural heritage, like, and the richness and the contribution that we
Yes.
are to each country, each continent, everything, because it sounds to me, I mean, from what I saw from the trailer, it looks like you're having a lot of fun. I mean, you're
We
doing
do.
zip lining, you're cooking, you know, you're speaking to local people within the
Yes.
community. However, you're also educating everyone about history that may be overlooked.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I mean, it's about educating people, as you said, the next generation. It's about educating ourselves right now. And
Right.
I didn't know about, before researching the show, I didn't know about Costa Rica's rich Jamaican roots. You're Puerto Rican. We shot in Puerto Rico, in Loíza. I mean, Loíza is considered the capital of
Yes.
Afro-Puerto Rican tradition and culture,
Correct.
and
Mhm.
bomba, and
And
bringing that,
bomba. Oh,
oh, you
yes, I
know.
can't wait to see that episode. I love bomba en plena.
I know, and it's so incredible. And so it's time that we really start honoring. And when we think about a Latina or Latino or Latinx, let's paint a different picture. Let's expand the portrait and say it can be a picture of someone who's of African descent. Because oftentimes when you see media, when you see, you know, a commercial or a print ad, you see someone who looks of European descent, and that's fine, but we need to also expand and make sure that next time you see someone who's Latino, Latina, that maybe you have a picture of someone of African descent.
Right.
Maybe you have somebody who's indigenous. You can be more, we can be multi-ethnic, multiracial. And so I think it's really important that we expand this perspective and then just shine a light on these amazing communities.
Well, it's true. I mean, you know, like as I was saying, you know, I identify as being Afro-Latina, but I don't deny that I do have European descent and I do have
Sure.
indigenous descent. However, I think it's important, especially during this particular time in our life, right? This particular period where
Yes.
it's really being amplified, and that we understand that as human beings, the
Yes.
color of our skin seems to be a lot more blended than we choose to recognize.
Absolutely. And you know, it's interesting that you said that, because I mean, looking at Latin America, researchers have found that at least 25 to 30% at least of Latin Americans have some African ancestry. So we're looking at easy one of every three, conservatively. And so that means that every one of three people in Latin America have some African ancestry. And a lot of times if you know, ¿y tu abuela dónde está, right? And
Right.
so if you look and you ask, well, let me meet your grandmother, that may tell you something a little bit differently about your story. And one thing I can share with you is the former president of Costa Rica, Guillermo Solis, his grandmother and great grandmother are Jamaican. But yet if you looked at him, he looks European. And so, and he's very proud of his roots. So this is what I want to bring out. And I think one of the things that I want to show, because I watch Spanish language television, I worked
Right.
for one of the Spanish language television networks, and I never saw anybody who looked like me, of
Right.
African descent. But yet when I traveled to Havana and to Cali and to Caracas, and even in Mexico, the Afro-Mexicans, there's a whole lot of people who look like me. And so
Woo!
I think it's time, yes, the
Yes.
excitement.
Oh, it's time
Yes,
to
get
celebrate it.
excited. Yes.
I'm here
So,
with you, and I'm looking
yes,
forward to it. We're all looking forward to it. I know you premiere this month in September, and we
yes.
really appreciate you bringing it here with us on Open. You guys, once again, we want to acknowledge Kim Haas, woo,
Thank
for
you.
Afro-Latino Travels with Kim will be available on public television stations across the United States beginning
Yes.
September 12th. Be sure to check your local listings for the time and channel. And well, there you have it. All right.
Gracias.
Oh, de nada, mi amor. Gracias a usted.
Placer.